Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll explore stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today, we are excited to have Dr. Robin Cassidy joining us from the UK. Dr. Robin is a 2019 ACC graduate and dedicated syntropy practitioner who has attended over 30 syntropy seminars and now practices the technique almost exclusively. He's the founder of Inflow, a thriving open plan practice that he has led for 5 years alongside his fiancée Audrey and their concierge team. A former rugby captain during his time at ACC, Dr. Robin brings leadership, discipline, and competitive drive into his professional life. Deeply influenced by the work of David Hawkins, he is passionate about meditation, personal development, business building, and understanding human behavior. Dr. Robin, welcome to the show.
Kelly, thank you. It's great to be here.
Super excited to dive into your story. There's so much things that we'd like to dive deeper. First of all, would you like to explain how did you got into chiropractic? What's your story?
Sure. So I think I was 17, maybe 16 around that time. I was in Jersey, where I'm from. Jersey is not New Jersey. It's a small island south of England. That's where I was born and grew up. And I was at a careers fair, and that's where like all the schools get together and like universities come over and kind of pitch what's going on. And at the time, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted it to be somewhat healthcare because both my parents are dentists, so I wanted to do something like that. But I was a lot more physical. I loved playing sports. I love running around in the mud, that kind of stuff. I didn't really like the idea of a desk job. So like doctors and dentists just didn't quite do it for me. So I looked at physio, I looked into it and just, I don't know, it didn't click. It wasn't so juicy. But then I met a dude called Tom Faulkner, who is an amazing chiropractor. He lives and works in Jersey and is from Jersey. And he was there like pitching for the ACC, and he sold it to me, man. It was amazing. And since then, I freaking signed up for ACC, studied for my exams, got my grades, got into ACC, and just didn't look back.
Back then, like with ACC, was it something that what you expect chiropractic is? Was it something that's changed over the years, or you already knew what chiropractic was even before you started?
Yeah, I did not know what chiropractic was when I first joined. All I knew was that it was a healthcare profession with not very many chiropractors. You could run your own business and you could crack people's backs and you could help people and you could make reasonable money. That's basically, and you could go to ACC, which is full of Norwegian women. So that's how he sold it to me at the time. And I friggin' bought that, man. It was amazing. And then my first, I think it was my second year of ACC, I went to a British Association of Chiropractic Students, BACS. It was like a conference. I think they held one in ACC and then the next year in WEOC, maybe something like that. Anyway, it was at ACC and I went there and saw all these speakers for chiropractic and met all these chiropractors. And I think that was when the penny dropped for me and I changed my sort of course, my direction of how I wanted to practice. Well, at least I didn't know how I wanted to practice, but I knew I wanted to find out more and learn more and take it a lot more seriously than I had in first year. And so that's what led me down the path of really understanding chiropractic and how the different ways of practicing it, and then how I did and did not want to practice. And I think that's where my journey of mastery of it began. I just recognized that not everyone was at this back conference. So in my year, not everyone was there, but the guys and girls that were at the BACS conference, I knew them from university because I was very social. I knew they were like well-regarded students. Like they had their good grades, they were good practitioners, they were good clinicians, they were cool people. I gelled well with them. They were great sports people, some of them. So and then I realized the people that weren't there, I kind of saw that they may have been the ones not taking it as seriously as the ones that were there. And I kind of I just ended up going more in that direction and going to really take it more seriously and working really hard and thinking outside the box and trying to understand more beyond what the university was teaching us.
Was it just you that signed up yourself, or was it a group of friends like, hey, let's just join this conference and change?
I can't remember how I got there, but it was like a last minute thing. I was like, oh yeah, there's this conference this weekend. Fuck it, let's go. Excuse my friend. I just went, and I remember some of my best buddies did not go, and then like after the weekend, I was like, "Dude, you got to fucking go! Like, let's do some seminars, let's go to conferences, let's go like learn more." And they
Oh,
were kind of
nice.
hesitant. Oh no, I don't need to do that. You know, I'm gonna do seminars when I'm in clinic. And I'm like, oh fuck, okay,
Mm,
whatever.
mm.
Eventually, some of them did come around, and some of them didn't. And in fact, the one I can recall now that did not never ended up going to any seminars, failed at one of the years eventually, and then actually gave up chiropractic like in year 2 after graduating. So, and
Wow.
now me and my buddy that did go both love chiropractic, and have it very settled. Like we are chiropractors, but it is who we are now, and we love it. So yeah,
What?
looking back, that was definitely a defining moment in my career, was around that
Wow.
first conference that I went to. Yeah.
What do you think is the one trait that separates the one that stays long in the profession and the one that drops out within the first 5 years?
Well, I'm only 5 years past graduating. Oh, six, yes, 6 or 7. Fuck, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I don't know that much about it, but what I do know about human behavior is that, if you want to if you want to master something, you got to stick at it and you got to work for it. And in my opinion, mastery is far more fulfilling and often rewarding, both like internally rewarding in terms of like you fulfilled doing it, but also externally rewarding, because if you're good at something, people tend to pay you more for it and are attracted to you. And so if you're internally fulfilled and externally rewarded, then you're more likely to stick through it.
Mm.
So I think the thing that probably keeps you in or makes you fulfilled is like the pursuit of mastery or the pursuit of excellence, and the kind of, I'm not sure if dedication is the word, because I have dedicated to myself to other things too, but kind of sticking at it for the long road and following your values or following your passion, following your excitement, your enthusiasm, whatever you want to call it. That's what will naturally give you the energy to keep going and enjoy it and get better.
Would you say that's like dedication is similar as obsession and similar as passion? Because some people say that like passion doesn't pay the bill and everything. So where would you draw the line?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I think passion will definitely make you interested in something. And indeed, you can pursue something that you're passionate about that does not pay the bills. Like
Mm,
that's fine. I think dedication, or to decide, I believe it comes from like to decapitate, to like choose, to get rid of, to choose, cut off. And so therefore, if you're going to decide that you want to do something, then that also means that you're deciding not to do other stuff. So I don't know, if you find yourself passionate or enthusiastic or inspired by something that also fulfills the rest of your needs, such as paying bills and stuff, and you want to decide to go all in on that or do less of other things that don't support that, then that's what's going to allow you to grow in that
mm.
area of life and likely be rewarded for it.
This sounds a lot like focusing and just saying no to everything else also.
Well, I wouldn't say you have to say no to everything else, but definitely focusing, staying consistent and committed. That's part of the double-edged sword of mastery, I would say. Because if you
Mm,
want to really master something, it's not an overnight thing. And, the rewards and fulfillment you get is one part of the sword, but the other is indeed you have to, stick at it, which means likely other things are going to fall by the wayside.
mm,
But you don't have to completely only do that thing. There's still a bit of wiggle room,
mm.
in my
Is that where you found syntropy? How did you knew about it and
Syntropy.
became
Yeah,
a
I think
facilitator?
I went to my first Syntropy seminar when I was in fourth year. I may have seen the guys, Aaron and Pat, at some talks, like either at Insight Club, which is a club at university to speak for
Yeah.
chiropractors, or some other conferences. Anyway, I went in my fourth year. I had already done all the fucking seminars by then. I'd been to Gonstead, I'd been to SOD, I'd been to AK, I'd done all of the other ones. And that one, for whatever reason, whether it was Aaron and Pat themselves, they were great teachers that I really, bought into their, I'm not sure philosophy is the right thing, but just bought into the way they taught and what they were teaching. I learned the most from it. It made the most sense to me. It was so simple, and it was simple, not easy, but the simplicity, I don't know, it just aligned with me. I'm like, yeah, chiropractic is beautifully simple. And yeah, I just found myself signing up for every seminar. And then before I knew it, a few years had gone by, I'm like, fuck, I've been to like 30 Syntropy seminars now. And now I find myself only practicing Syntropy.
Mm.
I've dabbled in the other stuff and done all the seminars, but Syntropy is the one that I enjoy the most, I'm the best at, gets the results for my clients. So yeah, and I love Aaron and Pat. They're great, great people and chiropractors, and I admire them a lot. And I think they're
Mm.
doing a great job.
What is the difference between syntropy and all the other techniques that you've been to or that you know of?
Well, they've got a few different characteristics that I think set them apart. The key one really is Aaron and Pat themselves. I think the combination they have of Aaron being this super nerd that knows all the neurology, he's done all the techniques. He's, a mature chiropractor. I think he's like 50 now, or older maybe. Don't quote me on that. Sorry, Pat,
That's
if you're
close his
younger than that.
age.
Yeah, he's done his upper cervical. He was practicing as an upper cervical doc for like 5 years. He's been a Gonstead doc. He's been an AK doc. He's been a like a sports doc. He's done his thing, so he really understands the body, the neurology, the biomechanics. Like he's a chiropractic nerd, and he'll happily admit to that.
Yeah.
And you combine that with Aaron, who's like this charismatic, well internally developed, meditative guy who just loves life and loves people and is really present and dropped in and like has let go of his insecurities and a lot of the human condition bullshit that many of us carry with us. And that combination and the people that are attracted to that, and how simple they make the whole thing, just creates this amazing culture and results. Like it's undeniable. As they talk about it, they talk about delivering the undeniable experience, and it's true. It's what I use in practice every day. Even in my day one, I'm able to consistently, 99 out of 100 times create an undeniable experience for pretty much anyone at any time. So anywhere, not even with the chiropractic bench. It's really amazing. And I owe much of that from what I've learned from Aaron and Pat from Syntropy. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's the simplicity, it's Aaron and Pat, and it's the results.
And that checks all the box in terms of how you would like to present and practice
Yeah,
chiropractic.
exactly. I don't need anything else. I don't need, with respect to the AK guys, I call them wizards. like if you ever played a video game with different classes,
Yeah.
you've got your warriors,
Different
your
avatars
mages,
and
wizards.
yeah.
Yeah, like the AK guys, they're fucking wizards. Like they know everything inside out. What they do is insane. I have so much respect for them. And you got the the Gonstead
Oh my
people,
God.
who are like, I don't know, something like I don't know, they're in like
You
the
can
space coal. Like they've got a great freaking, they can, I don't know, they can run a good ship. They know all the
yeah.
calculations, all the angles. They can see everything with their X-rays. Like they're freaking droids. They're amazing. Like they're really certain in what they're doing.
Mm.
Syntropy seems like the warrior thing. You just like show up,
Mm.
do your thing, and just get it done. I don't know what is that. I don't know if that answers your
Yeah,
question,
that's
but
like that's I like that example.
yeah, it just aligns with who I am and how I want to practice, and
Mm.
I don't overcomplicate it. Like I don't need the other things to like know that I'm having an impact on my clients.
Mm. The result shows by itself, isn't it? Like what you're
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
that's it. I don't. It's so authentic and raw. It's like I adjust someone, takes like 2 minutes. They've already paid me whatever £60 for that. But there's no question. I don't have to remind them that they're coming in on Thursday or next week, or whatever. I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to prove them with a muscle test. I don't need to show them on an X-ray. I don't need to use a posture picture, although I do sometimes do some of those things as outcome measures. But it's just the undeniable experience every time. Like, oh my God, I
Mm.
feel better. My body liked that and I want more of it. And over
Mm.
time, they're like, I've changed so much. So to me, it just demonstrates its power.
What is one thing you do is like non-negotiable for you so that you can create the undeniable experience when you're in practice or even your day-to-day life?
Non-negotiables. I used to live my life in this way with a non-negotiable, hard discipline style. However, now I've actually just built habits that no longer feel the need of force. I don't need to have a rule with myself or with other people like, all right, that's it. I'm going to meditate every morning for 20 minutes and every night. But I find myself naturally habitually meditating every morning and every night, whether I'm, in a good mood or a bad mood or like whatever's going on. That's what I love to do. And it's what I find myself doing with ease. Recently, I've been exercising a lot more, but there's been times in my life where I haven't, and I've gone a few months without even freaking exercising. And I realize now that my life is better when I exercise more and when I meditate and when I'm doing something that excites me. That also, I don't need to force myself to work or get better or do a good job. It just naturally happens. So I
Mm.
think if there was any like non-negotiables, although I'm not applying force, like telling the world and putting my flag down that this is going to happen, excitement, it's being present in the moment, it's being happy and well and fulfilled, and giving myself internally the peace, the love, the respect that I'm able to give myself during meditation, and also to let go of the resistance to any negative emotions, anger, frustration, anxiety, scarcity, all this stuff that's natural for a human. Let myself feel those if they're there in the mornings and in the evenings. They just naturally fade away. And then my natural default state becomes one of excitement and peace and joy. And that's when I imprint that in the mornings and in the evenings. The rest of the day is effortless.
And did it took long for you to find where your present state is, or was it? I mean, based on your background, you're quite disciplined and everything. But do you feel like now you're finding your balance in life? I'd say.
It did take me some time to cultivate this default state. I will say that. But becoming present, you can always become present immediately within one breath. You just become present with the present. I like to just feel the tips of my fingers and feel the sensation of the, what's it called? Mechanoreception. The mechanoreception in my fingers. I can feel that that's there, and I can breathe and feel the breath in my lungs, and that always connects me to the present moment. However, when you connect to the present moment, your default state, and my default state, is not always one of peace and grace and love. But over a period of time, I have learned how to let go of the negative emotions, and I kind of describe it as these negative emotions that naturally come up as a human being alive. They're like a cloud. It's like a rainstorm. In the UK, at least, you cannot avoid there being storms and rain and clouds and wind and shy. It just happens, but you can't just run away from it. At least in the UK, you can live somewhere else, whatever. But my point being is, you can't stop a storm from being a storm. You got to just let the storm pass. It'll go over. And always when the storm passes, at all times, the sun is shining in the sky, or the moon. It's always there. So when you're clouded with these, and you go through periods of shite in your life and all these storms, and you might get a bit sad and angry or frustrated or depressed during some times, when you just let that happen and don't resist it and try and run away from it, it just naturally fades away. And then what remains is peace and joy, and then love, and then fulfillment, and then excitement. So yeah, kind of a long wind to the thing, but it has taken me 5 or 7 years to come to the point where I'm at now of active, conscious learning, understanding, practicing, letting go, and all these things to come to where I'm at now. For example, give you a psychosomatic example actually of this. So I actually had eczema really bad on my hands since I was in 4th year of university. So that was 8 years. I've been suffering. My body has been experiencing eczema for fucking 8 years on my hands. I need to use every day, every patient. It gives me some fucking pain. And I tried everything from letting go, from strict diets, gluten-free, dairy-free, FODMAP, no alcohol, no caffeine, no spices, everything. Physiologically, I cut out and tried and did everything, even went to steroid creams and did all of that. And all of them, they would help a bit, but nothing would stop the process of the eczema continuing to come to the process of your body creating inflammation. So recurring, yeah. But only now, recently, these past freaking 2 months, have I found the letting go technique insofar as finding the emotions that are in me that I haven't been addressing and letting pass over me for years. And now that I've been letting go of these for consistently every day for fucking 8 weeks. Now my hands are almost completely eczema free. I don't know if you can see that. There's a tiny bit here and here. But honestly, if I was to show you pictures of my hands 3 months ago, they were red all over my hands and my fingers, everywhere, horrible. And that was my life for 8 years. So now, only just now, I'm coming into letting go of all of those bottled up emotions that I didn't even know were there, or definitely didn't think or consider they were causing my eczema. But that's the only thing that I've been doing differently these past 8 weeks, is finding those emotions, feeling into them, letting them come out. And I haven't needed to I'm just drinking, this is raw milk in here. I've been eating whatever I want pretty much, drinking alcohol sometimes, drinking caffeine sometimes, not using any steroids on my hands, and I have no eczema anymore. It's beautiful.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you got into that technique of letting go? Was it something that you just thought of it? Or?
One of my chiropractic, so the same mentor that that sold me the dream of chiropractic when I was 17, we randomly were on the same, sat next to each other on a flight somewhere flying
Oh,
back to Jersey.
wow.
Yeah, super like,
Wow.
God-given chance.
Yeah.
And we were chatting away, and he recommended me this book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. And I was into meditation at the time, but just kind of a beginner. I was doing like all the apps and doing that kind of stuff. And that book, I listened to the audiobook at the time. It fucking blew my mind. It was amazing. However, it was really in-depth and deep and advanced. And although it helped me and blew my mind, I wasn't really able to grasp the concepts and really understand the whole thing. So although that was kind of in my back of my mind, I finished that and moved on with my life and didn't think much of it until last year, when a now mentor of mine was talking about it and recommended the book again. And then I re-listened to the book, and also bought like there's like an audio. It's not a book, but it's like a compilation of the lectures that
Like a
David
summary
Hawkins
or?
himself. It's not a summary. It's like a compilation of lectures of the applications of the book, lectures given by David Hawkins himself. And I
Mm.
started listening to that, and that's more a practical application of the technique described in the book. So I had the understanding from the book, and then I was applying it with the technique with David Hawkins' guidance. It's beautiful, and that allowed me to really understand about this eczema and do it and get it done. So yeah, that took me years
Wow.
for that penny to drop and actually practice that technique
Yeah.
specifically described in the book.
Wow, I didn't know about that, and thanks for sharing. You did mention something about human behavior. Was it something that you were always interested even in school, or is it something that's more recent along with meditation?
Um, I, th- I definitely wasn't consciously interested, and I wasn't like seeking out human behavior stuff when I
Mm.
was at school. But I was always, as a human, you're always interacting with other people, and we're primary a lot of the time we're status and reputation driven, beings. And so I've always learned, how to navigate through life, by speaking, communicating, buying, selling, negotiating with people, as you naturally do. Like, you even negotiate with someone when you cross the road from a car. Like, you're constantly doing it, whether consciously doing it or not. But I think over time, I realized, maybe I was in university at the time, when I realized that for me to be a chiropractor, I needed to adjust patients, and they
Mm.
needed to come back more than once. And they needed to pay money to me or to the establishment that I was with. And I recognized that if I really wanted to help this person for what they told me they wanted to solve, then ultimately they're going to, my best solution for them that I can give my best is, you need to come in for a care plan. You need to come in here twice a week for a bunch of weeks and months, and then once a week thereafter, most likely. And so that requires helping someone come to their own conclusion that this is what they need to do to progress in their life and self-actualize, or be the better version of themselves, or get rid of the pain that they have, however it is in their values. And so ultimately that is a sale. That is I don't think persuasion is the right, I don't do that in terms of me forcing something. I'm trying not to use any force at all. I've done all the sales seminars with the different chiropractors out there, and the scripts and all that stuff. And I felt a lot of force in that, and I've used x-rays, and a lot of people say like, oh, the more you x-ray someone, yeah, they can see their subluxation on the Gonstead lines and whatever. But
Mm.
a lot of them, that scares them, and that is a forceful interaction sometimes for them to make a fear-based decision.
Mm.
However, now that I've really dove deep into human behavior and communication and spirituality, I realized that that's not necessarily required. Although for them to make a decision that is not based on fear, or that you haven't persuaded them or forced them into in some form, that requires a much bigger skill and understanding than otherwise. And that skill I've been really honing and paying tons of money to understand, to coaches and mentors, to help me get to that point where now I can have a conversation with someone, anyone, and help them come to a decision of what they want to do to solve their problem, where they're at in their life, why they've been putting off the decision. Are they in a position right now to make a change and follow through with a plan that's going to actually highly likely resolve the situation that they want out of, without the use of any, I don't need to do like a report of findings, I don't need any x-ray, I don't even need an exam, I don't even need an adjustment. I could do it with a conversation. Obviously, yes, all the other examinations, adjustment, undeniable experience will assist in that process. But it's that human behavior thing really is a key meta skill in life that you can use all the time. Use it with my spouse, talking to her about her day
Yeah.
and what she wants to do next, and with my parents, with my friends, with my family. I'm not going all Tony Robbins on them. and doing that soapbox stuff. I'm just having a great conversation that helps them discover where they're at and what they want to do, if anything, to change right now.
What is one tips or one guiding principle in terms of communication and inspiring people to take the change or take the leap of faith?
Curiosity, coming from a place of curiosity and of presence and listening. You know, Aaron and Pat say drop in to adjust. You've got to be dropped in as fuck to do a great have a great conversation. Like what you're doing now, really listening to me and being curious about my life. This is what makes a great podcast. This is why the Joe Rogans of the world are amazing. He's just a curious guy that's non-judgmental. Yeah, that's another thing. Cannot be judgmental. Non-manipulative, no telegraphing, which means you're trying to, you know, leading them somewhere. No leading the witness, just like open-ended questions, curiosity, being of service, caring more about them than you do about yourself in the, you know, the context of that conversation. Non-judgmental and listening. All of those things, you can, if you cultivate yourself that to be your default state and just who you are as a person, people cannot help but be inspired not to follow your lead, but to take their own lead and make their life into something that they want, that they're excited about, or that they no longer wish to be, you know, living the life that they're currently living if they're in a bunch of pain and had it for ages and not really done anything about it.
Very wise of you. Lots of wisdom and gems.
Great. Well, none of it. I've not invented any of this. This has all been just things that I've you know learned from other people. So, and anyone can learn any of this stuff. It's actually really just like syntropy. It's actually really simple.
With your experience with your personal development in professional life, opening your own practice, what advice would you give to younger Robin, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, it'd be some kind of like trust the universe, be okay. There's no need to worry about what's going to happen in the future. It's, you know, it's all laid out. You get to choose and co-create and definitely have a vision for your life of what you want and hold that vision firm. And naturally, intuitively, the path is going to be laid out for you. What would be some resources or books you recommend to people? Well, depends what you'd like to do or learn. I think if you're going down the spiritual, you know, non-religiously denominated path, a great starting point would be The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I was actually gifted that by a mentor of mine, Tom Waller, amazing chiropractor. He gave me that book and that changed my life at the time. It was amazing. That's quite an easy beginner's part to spirituality and meditation, bit of yoga in there too. I don't really practice yoga, but it has some of those principles. So that would be like step one. And then step two, after you've got that down, it would be Letting Go by David Hawkins or Power versus Force by David Hawkins as well. They're pretty badass spiritual books. Then if you want like personal discipline, like personal operating system type, I loved the 5 a.m. Club. The author's name escapes me, but that was really life-changing at the time. That's it. Yeah. That's the guy. That was really awesome. You know, I don't now like wake up at 5 and do all the things, but I do a lot of the principles in that book. I find myself habitually living a life that way. If you want, like, it's called self-actualized sales or scriptless selling. And that's the process and technique that I use, that we were talking about from a human behavior sales, non-force standpoint, without any script selling. You know, you can there with that skill, you can sell anything to anyone pretty much. That process, by the way, I'm certain that there is no chiropractor other than myself. And I don't mean this in an egotistical way. It's just something that I've discovered. And I know there's no one else because I'm in this mastermind with Josh, with the mentor, and I've been the only chiropractor there for the past year and a half. And yeah, implementing that directly into chiropractic industry. So yeah, his name is Josh Lyons, and you can follow him on Instagram. He runs a mastermind, sales mastermind called Unicorn Closer Mastermind. And yeah, follow him on Instagram. He's not really the inventor, but kind of the guy that's packaged it up and is teaching it, the process of scriptless selling. And that's opened up a lot of doors to me because not only can I, you know, sell care plans, whatever, in my practice, yes, in a day one, within 1 hour, have someone from never been to a chiropractor to getting them adjusted to paying in full for, you know, an expensive care plan without a script and without x-rays, pretty much just straight up from a deep conversation that they've probably never had with a human, non-forceful way. That's how to do it. It's from Josh Lyons and his method, scriptless selling. And with that skill, one can go and, as I said, sell anything. And so therefore I know, and I'm confident and secure in myself that should chiropractic ever get banned and they go to jail like they did in many of the 19th, 18th century, 19th, 20th century, whatever, I could just like leave and then get a job as an online high ticket salesperson and really help a lot of people and make good money from that from anywhere in the world. I could live and do that job. So that's a very valuable skill. Other books, if you want chiropractic philosophy, the one that helped me the most understand the principles was Textbook of Chiropractic Philosophy by Rob Sinnott. Amazing book for that. What else have I got? Any Jordan Peterson books. I love that. That was great. If you want to go to level 3 of spirituality, if you're really into that, you could read Neville Goddard, The Complete Reader, which is an absolute freaking home run. He's the GOAT. He is the old school, amazing spiritual bro. Yeah, that was awesome.
You have lots of good recommendations. I'll definitely put it into the description below.
Yeah, please do.
We're almost towards the end now, Dr. Robin, and you just started opening lots of boxes, and probably need to invite you back next time. Before we wrap things up, where would be the best place to find you then, Dr. Robin?
You can find me on my Instagram, inflowchiro. So in.flow.chiro. That's my practice thing. You can message me. There might be a bot that replies back getting you to try and book an appointment, but that's just my automation. But I'll see it anyway. So yeah, that's how you can find me. Or you can find me on my website, inflowchiro.co.uk. That's our practice.
Perfect. And we'll put the information in there. Is there anywhere you like to point there, or more super active in socials?
I mean, if you want to, just check out my website if you want to. That's more of like practice stuff. Instagram is more about it's also practice, but you can see me adjusting. You can see me doing a little
lots of different good videos that you have also. So
thank you.
We're in the last minute there. What is one quote that you like to lift the listeners to?
Oh, fuck, should I have one prepared? Let go of the resistance to your emotions. I'm sure there's a paraphrasing, but David Hawkins said that.
But a super great way to wrap up there. Thank you so much, Dr. Robin, for your time and for sharing your story. And we'll leave the details in the description. And we'll speak really, really soon there. Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Being podcast. Let us know what is your one key takeaway from this episode. And if this conversation inspired you, share it with a friend who might find it helpful today. Until next time, take care of your health and take care of your being.